Greetings to you all. My name is Benjamin Ferencz, and I believe I'm the sole surviving prosecutor of the Nuremberg war crimes trials following World War II. I am now in my 96th year, and I'm pleased to be invited to talk to you at the Dodd Center about what Nuremberg was all about, what we have learned, what we still have to learn, and is it possible to achieve the goals which we conveyed at Nuremberg. Justice Robert Jackson was the leading jurist in the United States and appointed by the President of the United States to head the American delegation to the International Military Tribunal. Tom Dodd, who was also an outstanding lawyer and a senator of the United States, was a very important assistant to Justice Jackson. As a result of those trials, the world was told that aggression is the supreme international crime. War making itself, which had been legal in the past, was declared to be an international crime. That was a great step forward in the evolution of civilized behavior. It also taught that law must apply equally to everyone. At the same time, it emphasized that the law must be flexible enough to change with the times in order to meet the needs of the society which is supposed to bind. That, coupled with the United Nations Charter, set forth a program from which it was clear that in order to have a peaceful society, you needed clear laws, which would define what was permissible or not permissible. You needed courts to determine whether laws have been violated, and you needed a system of effective enforcement. None of those prerequisites has been met in full. We have made progress on the laws recognizing crimes against humanity. We have made progress on the courts. We do have an international criminal court. We have made practically no progress on the enforcement leg of that three-legged stool on which civilization must depend. The result is we have the chaos which we have today. Unfortunately, our current system prescribes that if the leaders are unable to agree on an important international issue affecting their national honor or their pride or their economics or their religious outlook, they send young people out to kill other young people whom they don't even know, who may never have harmed them, who may never have harmed anyone at all. And when they get tired of killing each other, they take a rest, and then they start again, and they start killing each other for the same reasons. It's preposterous to accept such a system to regulate human behavior. The University of Connecticut has been one of the forefront organizations stressing human rights. The most fundamental of all human rights is the right to life. That has appeared in many human rights documents and should be obvious to every thinking person. How do you do that in the face of the world in which we find? It can be done. You must begin by changing the way people think and feel, change of hearts and minds about the use of armed force to settle their disputes. It should not be tolerable, but we need political support for that. And we see in the United States that political support is sometimes very narrow. Those who have a different point of view are entitled to respect, but you don't have to agree with them. If they think that the only way to go forward is by killing your adversary, that's a very bad mistake, because our capacity to kill exceeds our capacity today to control human behavior, and our capacity to kill has reached enormous strides in cyberspace and elsewhere. We can destroy all life on this planet unless we change our way of thinking and acting. So the lessons of Nuremberg remain still to be taught. Senator Tom Dodd was an important voice. Justice Jackson was an important voice. They were followed by General Telford Taylor, who set up the subsequent trials of which I was a part. I had been a combat soldier in World War II. I had seen the horrors of war firsthand. I had seen the crematoria when they were still going. I saw dead bodies not only floating in the sea at Normandy Beach, but on the ground of the many camps which I entered as an American soldier seeking evidence of the crimes. I then became the chief prosecutor for the United States in one of the subsequent trials, which convicted 22 defendants of murdering in cold blood over 1 million people, including thousands of children, shot one shot at a time. All 22 of my defendants were convicted, 14 were sentenced to death. I was then 27 years old, and it was my first case. I am now in my 96th year, and I've had a second case. Finally, we created an international criminal court, which now exists in The Hague. When they came to the end of their first trial, they asked me to do the closing remarks for the prosecution, which I did. I was then 92 years old. That was my second case. But the world had come a long way since then. It still has a long way to go. But a three-word solution will enable you to focus. Law, not war, should be the slogan and the goal. Say, can it be done? Of course it can be done. Imagine what the world would look like if you could save all those billions of dollars which are spent every day on things to kill other innocent people. Imagine how we could have funds available to care for the poor, to control the environment, to do all of the human rights things which the University of Connecticut and many others are striving to do. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. I have seen in my life that doing the impossible is very possible. They used to say when I was young, it's like landing on the moon. Yes, I have pictures of an American flag being flown on the moon by an American astronaut. We have women today who not only are deans of the law schools, who sit on the Supreme Court of the United States. Our Constitution didn't give them the right even to vote or to own property. We have seen the end of colonialism. We have seen the end of slavery, more or less. All of these things are imperfect, but we have done the impossible. So what's so impossible as substituting law instead of war? Senator Dodd and his son were forerunners of that. If you make up your mind that law is better than war, and law should be the substitute for war, the University of Connecticut, which has its law school, a respected school, will contribute its role to changing the world. It's important to remember three things. Never give up. 2, never give up. 3, never give up. It's up to the young people to succeed, and I'm sure you can do it.